hello there. Yes, well, good grief, isn't it? Yes, midweeky and Humpty and all those other D's that it is. Yes. Anyway, I've started teaching a unit in history about America in the 1920s. Well, bits of the 1920s anyway, and inevitably it's making me think of the Wall Street crash, and I was going to do a video today about the next Wall Street crash, which almost certainly is going to come next year one way or another with a big market realignment. Might well be kicked into later on in the year with Trump presidency flooding money around, but it's going to come anyway, and it's inevitably going to be painful because you can't rely on people to do the right thing, which of course neatly ties in with the whole Archbishop of Canterbury going today. Yes, can't rely on people to do the right thing. You can't rely on people not to express their sexuality, which is perhaps what we're going to talk about today. Oh yes, we're definitely going to talk about that today. And I was also sort of reminded yesterday about the notions of prohibition in America, which astoundingly, of course, led to over a decade of complete misery for pretty much everybody that was or wasn't involved in it, because whenever you create laws to try and regulate what people are going to do, it always ends in tears. But of course that isn't the lesson that we're going to take away from this, because of course the Justin himself was a bit of a bad man, wasn't he? Boo hiss. He wasn't the right sort of Christian, the pious sort that believed that people should be punished and not allowed to do things. So of course all the usual anti-wokists were out yesterday. I'm just going to concentrate obviously inevitably on everyone's favourite brimstone, fire and everything else bloke, Calvin Robinson. Yes, so we had the delights of this. Who will they make the next Archbishop of Canterbury? A woman? Yeah, he doesn't like women, does he? An LBGT affirming liberal? Yeah, he doesn't like them, particularly if they're women. A minority representative? Yeah, he doesn't like them, particularly if they're women. Other liberal stroke heretic? Yeah, he likes things like that. Because, of course, you see, if you legislate for things like with prohibition, then instantly it makes things stop, and you have these big laws that stop things. Except, of course, our knowledge of organised religion, especially in about the last, century, tells us that just isn't the case. And I'm going to be an equal opportunities anti-religious person here, because it goes for a variety of organised religions, be they Muslim or Protestant or Catholic. Of course, one has only to think of particularly the Catholic Church, because you end up deciding that people shouldn't express their sexuality in the priesthood, which obviously is a very good idea, because then they won't express their sexuality. But then it's going to mean that loads of people that don't really want to express their sexuality as far as they can think of it get attracted to the priesthood, and that often it will include people that are gay, and that will often lead them to doing various things which lead to all sorts of mess, unpleasantness and large number of children in graves, which isn't a very good idea. Yes, think of Canada or Australia or Ireland or America. Astounding, isn't it? Anyway, yes, you see, trying to legislate, especially through legal means, which is basically what your organised religion is trying to do, inevitably will end up with people, not doing what you want, and all sorts of squidgy nastiness ensues, doesn't it? But Friar Calvin, of course, would do this. He'd do exactly the right thing. He'd put a priest in every parish, okay? Defund every DEI initiative, inevitably that'll help somehow. Restore every cancelled monument statue, okay. Remove every trans pride flag, yeah, that'll stop the trans and pridey people. You can make them illegal. That'll definitely work, because then they won't exist anymore, as indeed we've seen from history. Yes. Give all the lady vicars a severance package. Oh, he doesn't like women, does he? No. Sack every gay priest or bishop. Yes. And, that'll encourage them to be out and open about their sexuality, won't it? I'm sure that won't drive anything underground and create all sorts of problems in the future, because obviously that would be a stupid way of viewing, human nature, obviously. Reunite with Rome, obviously. And resign. Yes. Obviously, yes. Yes, because obviously these things will work. But these people never really actually learn anything, do they? Because they somehow believe that, like the true believers they are, if only they could somehow force us into their view of the world, that these things magically wouldn't happen. But they do happen, because people are pretty horrible, and they're especially horrible if you pretend that things don't exist, or indeed make it harder for people to express who they really are. That, from me, would be a kind of takeout from these things, from all of these scandals, which will inevitably carry on going on and on and on. One only has to think of your average Bible basher in the States, the sort of person that flies around in a jet, and you just know full well that they will be caught at 2 o'clock in the morning with their trousers around their ankles, giving affirmation to someone much younger than themselves, because that's human nature. If we just went with that, everyone would be a lot happier. But then, of course, God would be unhappy, and we wouldn't want to make an invisible person that doesn't exist unhappy. That would just be daft, wouldn't it? Anyway, do have a beautiful, beautiful day, if you can do. I'm very much looking forward to the weekend. Yesterday was a trial, and I don't mean that in a religious sense. I just mean it really, really was. People, yeah, eh? Q.